What's up, duelists? This is the video where you guys get to see all the deck lists that you were going to beg me for in the comments over the next 24 hours if I didn't post this right now. You already know what's happening. Top 16 deck lists from the RBET that happened on Saturday and top 16 deck lists from the RBET that happened on Sunday. All 32 deck lists except for 2 are making it into this video, so strap yourselves in. This is a lot of deck lists we're going to be going through. This is a picture of, I think, part of the tournament. During one of the days, I grabbed a little snapshot when I had a minute. The tournament was incredible. It was at the PPG Summit in Denver, Colorado, at this insane resort. It was literally a castle. I don't even know. We fit into like one hall in this castle. The castle was easily a couple miles long. I have another video, little vlog footage I have that I'll maybe show on stream or something sometime this week. Of the inside of it, and it was crazy. The fact that the building like this even exists is nuts, and the fact that there was even an RBET in it at all that's historic. Anyway, thank you to everyone for all the love on the event and all the love on the stream. It was one of the best performing streams. Also, it was getting people hyped for next weekend, which is RBT Chicago, which is going to be really hype as well. And let's kick things off with the top 16 list from Saturday. So first things first, a couple of the lists, I tried to export them and they were like corrupted or whatever. It's going to be Murray's top 16 Gladiator Beast list and then Caesar's second place Blackwing list. I'll be getting those lists for you sometime this week and posting a short update on that. But I just wanted to get the bulk of the lists out now because I don't know how much time I'm going to have to record this video. And this is a small window where I get to record before my flight. So, all right, let's get into things. This is Stevens, I believe it's Stevens, top 16 Vayu Turbo deck list. Interesting, he's only on one Caius. Side deck has double Soul Release, really interesting, and double Threatening Roar. So, a few tech cards, pretty cool. Triple Armed Wing, you can never have enough of these. Probably should have played more than 3, actually. But yeah, other than that, no Solemn Judgment in the main, which is wild. I love Solemn Judgment in this deck. That's just me personally. He's on Triple D Prison instead of the Caius. Pretty standard stuff, pretty straightforward stuff. Vayu Turbo is one of those decks, if you come to an RBET, you gotta be ready to beat it. You gotta be ready to take it on, and that's just something that you gotta prepare for. I think it's either the second or third most popular deck at any given tournament. Sometimes the fourth, very rarely, but usually the second or third. So yeah, turn up, ready to beat this deck basically. Yeah, solid stuff. The deck's pretty straightforward. If you're new to the format, use Dark Rev for Armageddonite to set up Vayu and Sirocco to make Synchro Monsters, not Synchro Summon, but make Synchro Monsters from your extra deck, Blackwing Synchro Monsters, and then you can ladder into big OTKs with Return, Burial, or Dark Arm Dragon. Those are kind of your big 3 payoff cards in this deck. If you draw those cards, you're going to be doing pretty well, and the fact that there's 3 of them is always nice. So yeah, very powerful deck, and shout out to Steven for his unique take on Vayu Turbo. Congratulations to making top 16. Next top 16 deck list. We got a lot of deck lists, so we're gonna be breezing through these bad boys. It's gonna be Scissor's top 16 deck list. I believe Scissor is a SoCal player from the Southern California region, and he was playing Gladiator Beasts, which is a pretty interesting deck, and he has a pretty unique take on it, I'd say. Few things are similar to some lists we've seen. Few things are kind of unique and new. Cold Wave, but no Heavy Storm or Space Typhoon. Very interesting choice for the main deck. Generally speaking, Space Typhoon and Heavy Storm are great cards, so interesting to see that he's cut that in favor of cards like Trapstun. Not necessarily certain why that is the choice here, but worked out really well for him. He made it all the way to top 16. He's on double War Chariot. You usually don't play the third because it's not the best into Blackwings. Usually side the third, but it doesn't look like he's doing that. He's siding Pulling the Rugs instead. Interesting choices there, probably to stop Soul Exchange into Monarchs or just normal summon Stratos, that sort of thing. Speaking of Stratos, he is playing his own Stratos to search those Prismas, giving this deck that extra bit of power going second. Stratos is actually very good in this deck. I'm a big fan personally. I play it in Gladiator Beast just because the deck needs a little bit more raw gasoline. I think that it doesn't have a lot of great ways to build up resources outside of once you start getting your battle phase looping with a quest. But early game resources are kind of hard to find for Gladiator Beasts. You're oftentimes going -1 or trying to establish a position, and that's where things tend to fall apart for the deck. And it looks like he's opted to include the Stratos, which makes a lot of sense. One Cyber Dragon as well helps improve machine matchups. He's on double Aquari, double Equest. Only one Darius. I could never get away with that. I would always draw the Darius when I need it in deck, but Looks like it worked out well for Scissor. He made it all the way to top 16 on day one of RBET Denver. So the first RBET of the weekend. Looking at the side deck, he was side decking Hiplomas, one Crow, a couple of Kaiku the Ghost Destroyer. This card's actually great. I'm a big fan of this card in the meta right now. It's great against Value Turbo, Hero Frogs, and Lightshorn. And as you guys will see in the rest of these top 16s, there was a ton of Lightshorn. Lightshorn is in its comeback era. A couple of different lists floating around that are looking pretty solid. So we'll get into that eventually. One Trap Hole that's for Blackwings, a couple of spot removal cards, nothing too crazy, and then that Heavy Storm Space Typhoon in the side, as well as Brain Control for, I'm assuming, the Mirror Match. Great stuff to Scissor. Congrats on top 16. Always a challenge. Next up is top 16 Murphy. I've actually had the pleasure of playing against Murphy in tournament. I played against him at the last PPG 5K. He's a really good player. He's actually really, really talented. He comes from, I believe, a background in modern Yu-Gi-Oh! So he's more about that like combo hand trap life, but he made it all the way to top 16 on the first day in Denver with his unique take on Blackwings with triple trap stun. This card, I honestly want to say, was MVP of the entire tournament. You're going to be seeing a lot of it. Not only do you see 3 of it in Murphy's list here, but there was also 3 of it in Scissor's list here. So already, 3 lists in, and we've seen 6 copies of Trap Stun. This card is just fantastic. The Frog decks right now are playing heavy counts of the discard traps. This just catches them. Easy +1 on those. Catches Icarus attack from Blackwings. Easy +1 on that. And it can also clear the way through multiple back row for you to be able to make a push, basically. If your opponent sets 2, you just Trap Stun, gets through both back row, chain on one of them, get your 1-for-1, and then shut off the other one for the rest of the turn. It's a very versatile card, very important card, IMO, and yeah, just a strong card into the meta right now. He's main decking Dust Shoot and Torrential, as well as both Royal Oppressions. That usually works with the Trap Stuns to shut off your own Royal Oppressions, but you don't see this always. Sometimes people don't love it in the mirror or against Value Turbo. I actually don't think it's that bad against Value Turbo. In the mirror, it can be a little bit bricky, especially the second copy. But yeah, with the 3 copies of Trap Stun, he can shut it off on at will, basically, and then special summon and establish a board, and then lock the opponent under Royal Oppression on their turn. For the sideboard, he looks like, it looks like he's gone for the most consistent options: double Sidra, triple Crow, double Dyna. Makes sense. You just want to deal with the unfair strategies. One My Body as a Shield. This is another card that saw a lot more play than I thought it would. Not as much as Trap Stun, but still quite a bit. Double Knock, double Smashing. I do like Smashing in Blackwings. Fissure is sometimes the preferred card of choice now because it does hunt down that Consecrated Light, but they serve a very similar function. Double Dust Tornado and Trap Hole. So just a handful of spot removal, 6 spot removal, 7 spot removal cards there at the end to help deal with problematic cards, and then you can use the rest of your power to sort of chip away at the opponents sort of systematically. Congratulations to Murphy on making it all the way to top 16 of RBT. I believe this is the first RBT Murphy's competed in. And yeah, congratulations. Well played. All right, moving on. We got Michael's list. This is the one everyone's going to be wanting to see. This is Michael's Machina Quick Draw Hero Level Leader Plant deck. Yeah, crazy, right? Crazy stuff. How does this deck work? Let's dissect it a little bit. Let's dive in. Let's break it down a little bit. What have we got here? This is some crazy stuff. I'm not gonna lie. This is some wild action. So the way this deck works is you use the Machina cards to sort of pressure the opponent. They're pretty resilient to stuff like Deck Devastation Virus. They make it so you're not getting your hand completely shredded the second you face down Value Turbo or Blackwings. The Machina cards are also super resilient into Blackwings, which helps improve the Quick Draw's natural matchup into that deck. You'll notice that Trap Stun here, once again, card we were saying is kind of story of the tournament. On stream, it was Gores. A lot of these decks are playing Gores, but Trap Stun is another big MVP. He's got 1 Pot of Avarice. One thing that I've noticed personally from testing Quick Draw and playing against Quick Draw and stuff is that this card has fallen really far out of favor. It's now a 1 of in a lot of lists just because you can brick on it really early. It's still good to play 1 because you can navigate the early game with 1 brick, but navigating the early game with 2 bricks when your opponents are on hyper consistent lists is really fucking hard to do. So yeah, one pot of avarice makes a lot of sense. He's also on that one enemy controller. This is a tech I personally love and played in my recent hedge guard quick draw list, and it looks like he adopted it as well. This card's fucking fantastic. It combos well with the dandy tokens, combos well with debris dragon, combos well with not level leader, because you can't sack it for enemy controller. Can only be tributed for a tribute summon. Gotta remember that. But it does work well with the scapegoat tokens. So a lot of ways to make use of this enemy controller for unique power plays, which is really cool. And then just switching something to defense is actually really high utility in this deck, because there are situations where you'll switch something to defense and then you'll get a Nitro Warrior double kill, or you'll be able to switch it to attack with Black Rose immediately after and then run it over for a bunch of damage. There's a whole bunch of stuff that works out well here. But yeah, as for the small hero engine, this just allows you to play Future Fusion in the deck. You reveal Elemental Hero Gaia, and it's basically a second Foolish Burial for Dandelion. Doubles the consistency of the deck. Absolutely worth playing if you're playing Quick Draw in today's meta. Future Fusion plus 3 heroes. I'd say it's mandatory. You can decide between the Plasma and the Evil Hero Infernal Prodigy. But yeah, generally speaking, people like one of the other of those two cards. Level Leader is an interesting card. It does work really well with certain cards like Quick Draw. It also helps give you extra additional bodies. If you have something like Titanial Fortress out, it can build up tribute fodder for you or synchro fodder for you. It can help you ladder into bigger synchros that you normally wouldn't be able to make. It also makes Junk Warrior with Quick Draw Synchron in a pitch, so 2-card synchro that doesn't take your normal summon is not that bad. You'd be surprised how decent that is. And then you can also bring back the Level Leader as well and then sack it for Caius. It's a lot of pressure off of just a 3-card combo there. I'm surprised he's only playing 1 Caius, but it makes sense because he's on triple Fortress and Force. You got to reduce the number of opening hand bricks. And when you do elect to include the Machinas, you have to trim on some of your better cards like Caius, unfortunately. But yeah, overall, really solid looking main deck list. This deck has been floating around a lot lately. The side deck also looks pretty solid, pretty standard, I'd say, except for a few interesting ones. The side deck Raikou, he's not main decking Raikous, makes sense. Every time I play this deck, I don't want to be playing the Raikous. I feel like they're the worst part of the deck, and I usually don't play them, actually. And it makes sense that Michael here also didn't play them. And 2 My Body's a Shield. This is a card I actually don't like in this deck, but I don't normally play the Machina, so I'm not sure exactly how good it is with specifically the Machina cards. As well as the Trap Stun, just extra copies of Trap Stun. You want to have as many of these into the meta. It's just extra sweepers, extra copies of Heavy Storm functionally. That can also hit chainables, which is really nice. He's got that side deck Sirocco. This card is fantastic. You loop it with Drill Warrior, and then you're able to shut out the opponent pretty well. Nice synergy for the Machinas is if you do draw a dead Quick Draw Synchron, you can pitch it to the Machina Fortresses. It also works well with Cyber Dragon as well to be able to pitch to the Machina Fortresses. So extra machine cards like Card Trooper, Quick Draw, Cyber Dragon have a little bit of extra value in this deck at being able to bring out the powerful Machina Fortress. So congratulations to Michael, taking this very unique build of Quick Draw to top 16 of RBET Denver. Moving on, we've got top 16 Declan. I'm so sorry, Declan. I am so sorry if I'm mispronouncing your name. This is the Frog combo deck that we've seen floating around quite a bit recently. This deck plays triple Fishborg Blaster and a bunch of ways to accumulate multiple cards in hand, including triple Salvage, triple Avarice, and triple Reckless Greed. These all go +1. And there are other ways to go +1, like using the Dandy tokens plus Substitute to get multiple frogs in play. And then you use those +1s to pitch to Fishborg. And then when you pitch to Fishborg, you get to make synchros, and you try to OTK your opponent, generally with Colossal Arm, but there's a couple other ways to do it as well. And then you can side into a more typical looking frog deck, although sometimes that does weaken the configuration of your frog deck. I've noticed when I play against this deck in tournament that I'm always scared if they just don't side. I'm more scared if they just don't. Looks like he's adapted some of that Trap Stun technology from One Morioki, aka Swagger's Top from RBET Las Vegas. And like I said, Trap Stun's just kind of like the name of the game right now. And so that's why I really like those quick play spells like Enemy Controller, and even cards like 7 Tools of the Bandit to sort of counter your opponent's 7 Trap Stuns right now. But yes, the quick play spells have a lot of value right now. I think that they're in a great spot in the meta because of the high counts of Trap Stun in everybody's deck, basically. This deck is solid, but it's also pretty fragile. It does have some weaknesses, and I wonder if that's what Declan ran into in his top 16 run, but still making it all the way to top 16 with like kind of this like Glass Cannon, very difficult to navigate combo deck is a testament to Declan's skill. So congratulations to Declan. I mean, very powerful duelist, clearly very powerful duelist to make it all the way to top 16 with this. Good stuff. All right, moving on. We got top 16. Andy. Andy was playing Black Wings. Classic. Not much to see here outside of the triple upstart. He is also playing Jaws, but he's not playing any draw traps, which is interesting. I personally am a big fan of draw traps with Gores, but Upstart Goblin makes it so you see Whirlwind and Dust Shoot a little bit more consistently going first. So that's kind of the upside of Upstart Goblin, but also the downside is that you give your opponent life that can come up, especially in the mirror, and you also don't get chainables to bait stuff like Heavy Storm, Mystical Space Typhoon. Sometimes that comes up, sometimes it doesn't, sometimes you just don't need it. It's trade-offs, you know? If you're playing Black Wings, you have to weigh your playstyle, weigh how you want to play the deck. I think personally, I'm not a fan of Upstart Goblin, but I know a lot of people who swear by it. It usually isn't the way to play the deck that wins tournaments. I think I've only ever seen a first-place Blackwing list with Upstarts once. So frequently it's like in top cuts here and there, but I've only ever seen it be the winning list one time. So food for thought if you are looking to pick up Blackwings in the format. Side deck, once again, looking very consistent. He's only got 1 Crow as compared to Murphy's 3. He's also playing a few other interesting cards, Deck Devastation Virus, Pulling the Rug. He's siding the Oppressions instead of maining them. He's also siding the Road instead of maining it. Not exactly sure if that's good or bad. He's also on 0 copies of Trapstun, which I don't know if that's the new meta or not the new meta or whatever, but looking back at a lot of the tops recently, 1 to 2 copies of Trapstun has been sneaking its way into Blackwings in the main deck as just an extra way to guarantee that your plays go through and that you can break through multiple back row, which can be sometimes difficult, especially in the mirror or against chainables. All right, moving on. Congratulations to Andy. Once again, very difficult to, I don't know, top with Upstart Goblins in your deck. Kappa. No, I'm just kidding. All right, moving on. We got Alberto, who is a member of Team Starlight. I think there was one other member of Team Starlight. I think Declan was also Team Starlight in the top 16. But Alberto was playing Vayu Turbo with 41 cards, which is, I think, pretty common nowadays. I personally am not a big fan of playing 41 cards. I feel like it reduces the consistency, but this deck has enough power in it that you can usually skate by with a little bit over 40. It's not usually that big of a deal. And you see a lot of your cards between the milling and the tutoring and some of the draw power that's in this deck. Solid stuff. 2 main deck Virus has been the standard. This is another reason why I think the combo decks have been really suffering in Edison format lately, is because Vayu Turbo has been main decking 2 Viruses on average. And Vayu Turbo is a very common deck. And Blackwings also has a pretty good time into the combo decks, usually. This is a difficult card for a lot of combo decks to face. And it's another reason why we're seeing heightened counts of Trapstun in a lot of decks. Just being able to negate Deck Devastation Virus is massive. Any trap card that has a cost of sacrificing a monster, if you can negate that, that's going to be so strong for you, because not only are you claiming a +1 in card advantage, but you're also claiming the significant tempo advantage of taking away your opponent's summon. So, yeah, big reason to be playing Trapstun into this meta. He's also not playing Solemn in the main, but he does have it in the side, which at least got to have it in the side. It's such a strong card, you got to have it in the side. I think this is Sack Phase's list. The more I'm looking at it, it looks pretty similar to Sack Phase's list. It might be 1 or 2 cards different in the side, but it looks pretty similar. I noticed the Vortex. I think Vortex is pretty good in this deck. I would actually probably play 2 into this meta, but that's just me personally. I think this card's solid. You can bluff Gores and then just Vortex people. It's kind of nice, because people will attack with 1. They won't attack with a bigger monster, and then on your turn you just Vortex the shit out of them. It's kind of nice. Yeah, no, I think Vortex is pretty good right now. We'll see some other lists playing it as well, moving into the top 8. But yeah, once again, there's one top 16 list missing from the Saturday top 16 list, and that's going to be Murray's Gladiator Beast list. So congratulations to Murray for making it top 16. I will be getting you guys that list sometime this week. Let's move into the top 8 of Saturday RBT Denver. So in 5th through 8th place, we've got this isn't Oscar. This is Oscar Guillen, I believe. Oscar Guillen's Diva Hero deck list. One of the cooler decks to make top 8 this weekend. I really like Diva Hero. I'm a big fan of this deck. I don't know why it's fallen out of favor so much. I think this deck is insanely strong. I think this is like up there with like Frog Hero is like one of the stronger decks in the format. I would put it like tentatively in tier 1, tier 1.5 personally. Every time I play against this deck, I'm just scared of shit, because this deck can sack the shit out of you. There are a few issues with this deck, and you'll notice them right here. Gilman double malicious. Those are the big issues right there. If you brick on these bad boys, it's tough. But if you manage to not brick on them 2 times in a match, then you're playing one of the most powerful decks in the format. There's a lot of unique tech in Oscar's build. This is Snipe Hunter, a card that we saw way more than I thought we would on camera. Looks like a lot of people are just accepting the risk of playing this card because the upside of hitting with it is just so high. And just being able to nuke a board and then drop a Miracle Fusion afterwards and tank your opponent for 4K is pretty insane. Like, that's pretty freaking strong. He's also playing the Diamond Dude. Love this card. I don't think it's that good, but I love it. He's not playing the Evil Guy, Infernal Guy. He's actually playing Ocean and Destiny Draw instead. I'm not 100% on that. I really do like the Evil Guy, Infernal Guy, but I understand wanting to play the swagged out Diamond Dude card. You got the ultimate rare. You want to play it. I get it. I do like the Evil Guy, Infernal Guy because he allows you to play Caius going second. But since he's only playing 2 Caius instead of the normal 3, I can see why he's slimmed on the Evil Guy and opted for stuff like Ocean to loop Stratos or Diamond Dude to potentially hit one of your powerful spells like Miracle or Mind Control, Brain Control, and be able to take over the game. That way, Diamond Dude also combos well with Plague. You can use Plague to stack like Destiny Draw and then mill it with Diamond Dude and then make a 6-star and then go crazy from there. Trap lineup looks pretty standard for this style of deck. Weirdly enough, this deck doesn't want like to play too much defensive traps. You usually like want 1 to put behind your Stardust. But you don't want to like have a hand where you have like multiple bottomless, multiple deep prison, and then like a malicious and like a diva, because then your opponent will just like maybe have a way to play through your back row and then just rush you down while you're struggling to get your combo together. So generally playing 1 piece of defense to set behind the Stardust, or like slimming on these sort of defensive traps, or playing a small variety of them to like keep the opponent guessing is actually a pretty good way to approach this deck. I've seen a lot of successful lists do similar things. 1 Phoenix Wing is also, this is one of the best cards to have in your hand if you start with Stratos. No E-Call, which is surprising because he is playing multiple elemental heroes, but understandable. Future Fusion is a powerful card as always. He is on Dad Armageddon Knight. No Greffer. I do love Greffer in this deck as well, but looks like he's opted to play Snipe Hunter as his discard outlet, which is totally understandable. In the sideboard, he's got some crazy cards. A double Banisher of the Radiance. This is normally a card you would expect to conflict with this style of deck, but it just helps you pressure through battle recruiters, against fairies, against zombies, and it also helps you pressure against frogs a little bit. It's not at its best against frogs, but going first, you summon this against frogs, they're going to be struggling a little bit. I'll just say it. And then double Consecrated Light. Consecrated Light is for the Blackwing matchup. You just summon a Synchro, put out the Consecrated Light. They rarely expect this card. It's a pretty good mix-up. A lot of other one-ups here. The Shadow Imprisoning Mirror is such an interesting one because in a deck with so many activated dark effects, look here, you've got Diamond Dude, Snipe Hunter, Sanguine, Plague, Gores. Well, Gores, obviously you can't drop with Shadow Mirror, but you get the point. Mally, double Kaya's, Dad, and Armageddon Knight. Almost the majority of your monsters here are dark monsters with activated effects, but Shadow Imprisoning Mirror is so good against Value Turbo that it's almost worth cucking your entire strategy just to fucking eliminate that deck, basically. So really cool decisions here from Oscar. I like his build a lot. It's a very cool guy build. Some things I would probably opt to play differently if I was playing this deck personally. Like, I'm not a Snipe Hunter fan, but it worked out well for him. Made him all the way to top 8 at RBT Denver on Saturday, which was the larger of the 2 days, of course. All right, moving on. Congrats, Oscar. Let's move into Lex. Now, Lex is a beast because he topped both days. So we're going to be looking at his deck probably twice in this video. But yeah, shout out to Lex. He was playing Twilight Sworn, max rarity. Let's see if we can get a nice little detailed breakdown of how his deck looks. I'm going to try to organize it real quick while I'm speaking it to life. So he's playing Light Sworns with the Dark Monsters. Looks like double main deck Crow. Main deck Crow is actually pretty solid into the meta. It works really well against Value Turbo. It's not terrible against Blackwings. It's not insane against Blackwings, but it can clip the important Blizzard or Value play. But most importantly, it's a Dark that allows you to boost up your Dark count for Allure. It also allows you to boost up your Dark count for Dark Armed Dragon, which is super important, and Chaos Sorcerer as well. He's on a myriad of interesting cards. 1 Sark instead of 2. You can play 2, but probably cut it for space. double reincarnation. He's also on that Snipe Hunter, which is very interesting. He does have 10 darks here, which is, I think, a good, healthy number for a Twilight deck. I know some people go down to 9, but 10 seems pretty solid. It helps you support Dad and Allure even more consistently. As for the spells, double Avarice, double Reincarnation for the Recursion. Heavy counts of Recursion is interesting. I'm not sure how good it is to play double Avarice, but obviously it worked out incredibly well for Lex both days. Triple Lila, triple Raikou, going for maximum pops, just trying to go turn 1 pop into turn 2 bomb, like Dad, JD, Chaos Sorcerer, makes sense to me. Only 1 Wolf to mill, you gotta make space somewhere, and this deck is a little bit heavier on the brick count, early game brick count, because you're adding Dad and Chaos Sorcerer. They kind of take the place of the other 2 Wolves. You've got the Warrior package, all of the different names, only 1 Celestia, 1 Caius for your tribute monsters. Got to play Necro and Plague as your good mills. Sangan's an interesting card. I've seen James Ark be a big fan of this card in this deck as well. I like Sangan in this deck. I think it's great, especially when it has comeback cards to search for. And in this deck, normally in this slot, in the Snipe Hunter slot, people play Phantom of Chaos as a card to search for with Sangan. But Lex is playing Snipe Hunter as his comeback card to search off of Sangan of choice, which is totally reasonable. They fulfill similar functions a lot of the time. As for the sideboard, this is where things get interesting. 5 Floodgates, double My Body as a Shield. Cold Wave is in the side, actually, not in the main. I love Cold Wave in this deck, so I'm surprised he is not main decking it, but alas, makes sense. 1 Soul Release, 1 the 3rd DD Crow, of course, and then Mirror Torrential just to round things out with a couple of Cyber Dragons. So really cool deck. Tempest Magician did make an appearance on camera. I don't know if it was him. I think it was someone else who made Tempest Magician on camera who's playing Lightsworn. There was a lot of Lightsworn in this tournament. Lex was the highest placing Lightsworn in the Saturday tournament, so congratulations to Lex. And a very interesting and unique build. Triple Lila, triple Raikou is it's beast. I actually think these cards are some of your best openers in the Twilight build specifically, because you don't necessarily need to mill as heavily as maybe the Christia Swarm build does, and you're not looking to hit wolves. So you don't need to have a handful of like normal summons that aren't these 2 cards basically. But yeah, it's a little bit different of a play style than like the Pure Lightsworn, because Pure Lightsworn's trying to take a more beatdown approach with like Cyber Dragon, Jane, and like multiple Arcus and like triple Wolf, where you just put 6,000 points of pressure and then you just try to turn skip your opponent with maybe like a Threatening Roar into a Celestia for game. So it's much less reliant on the boss monster drops and much more reliant on like the tempo plays between the getting the Wolf free summons and the Cyber Dragon free summons, and then on top of that getting the Threatening Roar tempo plays. Whereas Twilight is much more about boss monster recursion, because you have a higher density of boss monsters. And in this case, you really just need to clear the back row so your boss monsters stick. So very interesting approach to the deck, but I do think it works out well for him. Moving on, we've got one of the most interesting decks in top 8 coming up here. This is George from Team Starlight's Dark Frog deck, which is very, very interesting. Let's sort of dive in here and just take a look at what factors are at play for this deck to tick. First off, you've got a high count of darks in this deck. All right, you've got 13 darks, so more than enough to support Dad and Allure both. So that's awesome. E-Call also gets you access to darks as well as Rhoda. So you have a very, very high count of darks. Another thing that this deck does is it takes advantage of Dark Grepher and Armageddon Knight, which are like obviously the power cards in Diva Hero and Vayu Turbo. Targeted milling is one of the best effects in all of the game ever, in all of Yu-Gi-Oh's history. Targeted milling is insanely powerful. So not only do you get the targeted milling of Grepher and Armageddon Knight, but you also get the targeted milling of Swap Frog, which can be brought out with Substitute, and you also get the targeted milling of Future Fusion, which is, in my opinion, the best card in the format. This deck is crazy. Look at the density of power in this deck. He's got Return, Triple Miracle, Future Fusion, Dad, all of the bombs from Diva Hero. But then you also have these single card bombs like Junk Synchron. You have the ability to make the Duplock with Substitute. You have the Grepher Mally play, which even if you've drawn double Mally, converts really well. You've got some really unique setups with this deck. Triple Regeki Break to help work well with that Ocean that you're playing. This deck list is hella clean. I actually like this deck list a lot. I think we're looking at potentially the future of Hero Frogs, at least a way that I expect to see a lot of people approaching it. Just being able to play Return in this deck is like leveling it up to a different degree, as well as Necrogarna. Necrogarna is one of the best cards in this format. It's actually a huge enabler for two of the strongest decks. I'd say Lightsworn and Value Turbo. Necrogarna fills a very important role in both of those decks. So seeing it here in Frogs as well, serving as that Grave Trap, that interactive layer that makes it even harder for you to come back against this deck. And being able to loop that card with Return is absolutely nasty. You've got 3 Regeki Break to get it in the grave. You've got Greffer and Armageddon Knight to get it in the grave as well. This is just such a clean looking deck. I'm actually surprised we haven't seen someone do this before. And that just speaks to the beauty and the innovation of Edison format. Some cool things that you can do in this deck that couldn't do in other decks is like Swap Frog, bounce Armageddon Knight. That's kind of sick, you know? Like that's something that you don't see every day. You've got Swap Frog, bounce Dad to protect your dad from brain control. Like just a lot of unique, cool little things that come up here. You can set up the dupe lock with like a Stardust Dragon pretty easily because you've got the Plague Mally Greffer. Man, this is such a sick deck. I really like this. I normally don't play Frog decks here on the channel, but I will make an exception for this one because it looks badass. So we're probably going to be playing this sometime in the future on the channel. Make sure you're subscribed. Congratulations to George. Crazy cool looking deck list. I'll leave more explanation for it when we play it on the channel in the future. So good shit, George. Congrats on top 8. Shout out Team Starlight. Check them out. And then, of course, in 5th through 8th place, we've got Primi, the SoCal GOAT. This is now his second top 8 in RBET with Blackwings. Playing a very teched out list, I'd say. He's got the draw traps, the deck dev. Actually, it's not that teched out, but he does have the True Nade as well. This looks pretty similar to his list from Vegas. I remember him playing like a bunch of crazy 1-ups. He's got that Trapstone as well. The Banisher making an appearance. He's got Fissure. Fissure, I think, is MVP in Blackwings. I personally am siding 2 in mine, and I've been loving it. I might even start siding 3. That's how much I like this card. Big fan of it. If I have space, I might bump it up to 3. But yes, looking at the deck list, I love Draw Trap into Gores. One of my favorite plays. And we saw it several times on camera this weekend. Check out the VOD if you haven't already. The deck speaks for itself. The techs speak for itself. True Nade is in that sort of trap stun slot to be able to force your monsters through back row. Same thing with the main deck Starlight Road. Not main decking the Oppressions. Totally different approach from Murphy's, but it is what it is. All right, 6 stuff Primi. Congrats to the SoCal Blackwing legend. He also topped day 2 as well, so good stuff Primi. All right, moving on. We've got 4th place, or 3rd and 4th place, Andrew's deck list from Saturday, which is Hero Frogs. But this is more of the Hero Frog deck we're accustomed to seeing at this point. Double E-Call, triple Upstart Goblin. I shouldn't say accustomed to seeing. This is a very unique approach to this deck that was popularized this year with no Dupe Frogs. You don't play Dupe Frogs at all. You focus more on hand disruption, triple Water Art, and Dust Shoot. And then you try to aggro people out with Death Frog normally. Doesn't look like he's playing Death Frog. No Death Frog in the deck. Makes sense. Had to make space for Double Ryza somehow. I love Double Ryza. I'm a big Ryza fan. I'm not the biggest Death Frog fan, I'm going to be honest. But yeah, this takes a much more aggressive approach. It's similar to the Dark Frog deck that we saw, but instead of focusing on stuff like Dark Arm Dragon and stuff like Return, like powerful proactive plays, it's got this more powerful disruptive play in Water Art, and then you try to aggro people out after you take away the key cards for their strategy. This strategy has proven to be really successful, namely just because Water Art is a very oppressive card. It can completely cripple hands. It's like getting to play with 4 Dust Shoot, which is as good as it sounds. So if you haven't already tried out this build of Hero Frogs, I'd recommend it. It's not for everyone. It's not very defensive. It's very aggressive, which fits my personal playstyle. But like I said, it doesn't fit everyone's playstyle. I know some people like to play a little bit more defensively. And this deck has been putting up pretty good numbers. It was top 4 in the hands of Marcus Hayden at RBET Indy. And this is its second top 4 at an RBET. So I expect to see more of this style of list in the future. The cutting of Dupe Frogs does make this deck... Oh, he is playing a Dupe Frog. What the fuck am I talking about? This whole thing where I'm like, you're cutting Dew Frogs. No, he's just playing one. I totally missed it. He can make a soft lock. He must have cut the Death Frog for the Dew Frog. Disregard everything I just said. The deck is now completely defensive. This is a defensive fortress deck. This is a stall deck, if anything, actually. This deck completely different from what I just said. Everything changes with the one Dew Frog. No, I'm just kidding. All right, try it out if you haven't. All right, third, fourth place, we got Matthew's Vayu Turbo deck. This one was pretty unique. He's got Icarus Attack and Kalute as like some tech options. I actually really do like playing Kalute in this deck. I think it's a fun little hand trap. Makes your arms wings like hella scary. Like people will disrespect the armed wing. They'll be like, oh, 2300. I just run that over with Stardust, and then you're just like, boom, Kalute, GG, which is really nice. It also helps you shove a 2200 Vayu down people's throats, or just go for big Sirocco pushes. I like it. I'm a fan. You know what would be really even better than that is if you added more Kalutes. I think some more Boras, some Shuras as well, and maybe some Whirlwinds. That would be even better, I think. That would be even better. But yeah, moving on. Shout out to Matthew. This is, I believe, his second RBET top 8 or top cut. I don't know if he made top 8 or top 16 at the last one. But he's got some cool tech. He's got the Compulsory. He's got the Icarus and the Kalute. I like the teched out Vayu Turbo decks. I think they're more hype. I'll say that much. A hype one of Kalute is always hype. And like I said, we were missing the second place list from this, which was Caesar from Las Vegas. Shout out Caesar. I will be getting you guys that list sometime this week, but he was playing Black Wings, and his list had draw traps in it. So, food for thought. And then first place on Saturday was Conrad playing Vayu Turbo. Shout out Conrad. So, fun fact, this was Conrad's first Edison tournament, which is crazy. And he played really well. I'm not going to lie. We watched him a couple times on camera, and he was playing pretty clean. Surprisingly clean. So, he has a pretty good handle on the game. He must have studied up here and there, watching all the amazing Edison content creators out there. There's a ton of people doing content on this format now, which is really cool. Great content ecosystem. And he just seemed like a very smart guy, very good head on his shoulders, knew what he was doing type shit. And he was able to piece together an RBET victory, which is like, damn, hit the ground running. You're starting a legacy for yourself. 100% conversion rate in tournament. So, yeah, it doesn't get much better than that. The main deck looks pretty similar to Vayu Turbo lists we've seen in the past. He's not playing Chaos Sorcerer. That's the one card that he cut. And he's also main decking Solemn Judgment. Big fan of this decision. Big fan of main decking Solemn Judgment. I think this card is a tournament winning card. Personally, love the card. That's the big change here. Double deck dev is the story right now. If you can handle the double deck devs, then you can take down this deck. And if you can't, it's going to be a little bit more difficult. It's going to be an uphill battle to beat this deck multiple times in tournament. As for the side deck, he's got double Sidra, double Dyna, double Kaiku, no Crows. Interesting decision on the no Crows. He does have that Vortex, like I said. Great card in the side. Triple Dust, pretty common to see that in Vayu Turbo now. And then double Rug, double Oppression. So good stuff to Conrad. Congratulations on his victory. We've got a whole other top 16 to get into. I've got to record this within the next few 45 minutes before I have to hop on a flight. So let's hop into that. This is going to be the Sunday RBET top 16 deck lists. I believe we have all of them from Sunday. Yes, I believe we have all of them from Sunday. And we're going to be starting off with top 16. We've got Harrison Jong, Black Wings, the one trick. His words, not mine. Blackwing player. Playing a pretty interesting Blackwing list. A lot of one-ofs. One of Legacy, one of Dust Tornado, one of Deck Dev in the main. So a little bit of a mix-up on what back row is what. He's got double Vayu. I actually been liking double Vayu. I believe Caesar, who got second place on the first day, was also playing double Vayu. So seeing a little bit of that extra grave resource for the long grind game coming into play there, or just, if you draw one, being able to get a second one off sure is always nice. For the side deck, he's got a Card Trooper in side deck to kill Consecrated, and this has a little bit of upside because of that second Vayu, like I said. This also does aggro out Rykos and Hamsters really well. So solid side deck decision from Harrison here. Double Cyber Dragon, one Crow, one Dyna, one Book of Moon. Standard shit. It's Black Wings. All right, Harrison. If you're in the comments, if you're watching this video, just say hi to the people. Up next is Primmy's Blackwing list. We saw this list in the last top 8. I'm not going to talk about it too much, but he made it to top 16 on the second day. Same shit. Moving on. Top 16, Nelson. What do you know? 5 draw traps in Blackwings. We were talking about this a lot on stream. I had the pleasure of having HT19, the popularizer of the... Popularizer, is that even the right word? But yeah, he popularized... Yeah, I think popularizer is the right word. He popularized the hella draw traps in Blackwings list. And we were talking about it. I would have liked to cover this on stream, but alas, we didn't get Nelson on stream throughout the day. You know, you can only cover so many people. I love this list. This is my favorite Blackwing list, the draw trap Blackwing list. I do like Triple Blizzard. I know Hector only likes 2, but let's start the war in the comments below. Got the Fissure, big fan of Fissure, and yeah, that's it. Gore's in the side. Don't know about that with all the draw traps, but I guess he's got the Road, so makes a little bit of sense. Book of Moon, interesting stuff. Interesting stuff. Big draw trap enjoyer. It's still a great way to play the deck. If you like drawing cards, sleeve them up. All right, moving on. Top 16. Congratulations, Nelson. Well played. We got Lex again. Once again, we already talked about his list, so I'm not going to say too much about it, but back-to-back tops. Congratulations, Lex. Very well done. Very, very well done. Yeah, good stuff. Twilight. Moving on. Next up, we've got Homam Jamal with Hero Frogs. Homam Jamal is an absolute monster of a player. He plays really, really well in tournament, from what I've heard. I've never had the pleasure of playing against him, but he plays some tricked out stuff. You guys may recognize him for playing the card Teva in Fish at an Ultimate Time Wizard. Very rare card. It only has 1 printing, if I remember correctly, and very interesting card that he was able to take to, I think, an undefeated in Swiss finish with Fish OTK or something like that. But yeah, he was playing Hero Frogs, a much more traditional looking list. He does have that main deck Water Art, main deck Threatening Roar, so some nice mix-ups in the back row. I do think Water Art in the main is becoming a new standard for some of the more traditional Hero Frog lists that aren't playing the dark stuff. It is an insane piece of interaction, and I do expect to see it as a 1 of, 2 of moving forward in the main in almost every single list that we see. Main deck Soul Exchange, also great. I do like Double Ryza. 41 cards doesn't matter too much when you have this much redundancy, but it can come up in some games when you're trying to top deck a Miracle. Side deck has the triple vanities. Gotta have it for, you know, the matchups where they special summon. Shout out to Homam Jamal. Congrats on making it to top 16 with Hero Frogs. Moving on, another frog list, which we've already covered. Declan, once again, repeat top. Well done. A lot of the same players did enter the second day as well as the first day, so, you know, if you're good enough to top the first day, you're probably good enough to top the second day, you know, as long as you're playing hot and you're drawing pretty well. So shout out to Declan. Everything I say earlier stands for this one. All right, moving on, we got Daniel W. with, what do you know, Hero Frogs, but a very interesting approach to the deck. Triple Deep Prison main, triple Regeki Break main, with Dust Tornado main as well. Very interesting. Main decking Cyber Dragon. This looks like kind of an older 10FD style list. I know 10FD is a big fan of Deep Prison and Cyber Dragon. Spoiler alert, we'll be seeing some of his newer technology later on. But the sideboard here is really cool. He's got the Mobius, big fan of Morbius in the side. Double Snowman to go with his double Water Art in the side. So some classy stuff. Yeah, I think this is a cool looking list. I don't love Deep Prison in this deck, but it worked out really well for Daniel. He was able to take this to a 5-2 finish, I believe, which is top 16 for the second day. So congratulations, Daniel. Solid stuff. Hero Frog, staple of the meta right now. Learn to love it, learn to hate it, whatever. And the last top 16 deck list we're going to be looking at is going to be Antonio's top 16 Horn of Heaven gadget deck. This deck has been kind of the story of like innovation of the year, I'd say. And you'll notice he's actually upped Horn of Heaven to 3 copies in his gadget deck. I've talked about this deck extensively ever since Eugene Shin's revolutionary top 8 performance at RBT LA this year. But just a brief update for people who may not be familiar. Horn of Heaven works exceptionally well with the gadgets. Put the pieces together. You summon the gadget, it gets the value. You negate any summon. You get to play 4 Solemn Judgments. That's pretty crazy. This drastically improves the gadget deck, because one thing that the gadget deck really struggled with in the past were like these low attack point combo monsters like Lone Fire Blossom, Substitoad, or the on summon effects like Caius the Shadow Monarch that are banishing your Solidarity, or stuff like Dark Arm Dragon coming down and insta-popping one of your cards, or JD coming down and insta-nuking your field. Horn of Heaven patches basically every issue that this deck had, which is crazy. So, yeah, it just really upped this deck a tier, and I don't think we've seen maybe one tournament this year where this style of deck hasn't made it into a top cut. So, really impressive stuff from Antonio. He's got an actual conversion side here where he sides out the Solidarity stuff for Dimensional Fissure. And he goes into like more of a defissure stun gadget style deck, which is really cool. I quite like that. And he's got the Shadow Mirrors as well. Main decking the Trap Stun, like I said earlier, you just need to be able to play through multiple back row. And Trap Stun has applications in every matchup right now. So, yeah, it's just a great main deck card if you can fit it in your deck. Shout out to Antonio, one of the nicest people on the face of the fucking planet, if I do say so myself, and the GOAT. So shout out to Antonio for playing a very unique build here. The 8 gadgets is also kind of cool. We've seen people kind of debate the 8 or 9. This tournament, 8 gadgets seem to perform. Did very well for him. So congratulations, Antonio. And let's get into top 8. Let's get into the real shit. All right, starting off top 8, we've got Oscar Zelaya of Legacy Retro Duelist with his Upstart Goblins, Blackwing deck list. This looks kind of similar to the last Upstart Goblin list we looked at. It might be identical to it, actually. I think it might be identical. He's not playing Gores. I think that might be the big change. He's playing this book instead. Or the deck dev. I'm not sure which it is. Cyborg got the double fissure. He understands the power of fissure. Triple rug. Jeez. He said, I'm not getting Caiused. Fuck Caius is what he said. I do like triple rug. I do think there's merit to Dark Illusion. We'll talk about it a little bit more, possibly over the third rug, but maximum consistency states that you want triple rug. It helps you against Machina, which is sometimes a tough matchup for this deck. And yeah, just having triple rug means that you're consistently going to see your summon stop piece that you really need to see. So congratulations to Oscar Zelaya. He's one of the most powerful duelists. I have only played against him once ever, and he crushed me. So looking for the run back one of these days, Oscar, but check him out on YouTube. I'm sure he's going to be explaining his run a lot more over there. Moving on to the next top 8 list, we've got Daniel's very interesting Magic Cylinder Burn Vayu Turbo deck list. No, I'm just kidding. Vayu Turbo Burn? What? No, I'm just kidding. He decided to side the second copy of Deck Dev because he wanted to play Giga Chad Cylinder for the Blackwing matchup. And boy, did it pay off. Got him all the way to top 8. So really cool tech card. I've talked about this list several times already, even in this video. So we're not going to get too much into it, but shout out to Daniel for making it all the way to top 8 with Magic Cylinder in his deck. Love this card. Big fan ever since its release in Labyrinth of Nightmare. Any opportunity I have a chance to put it in the deck, I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it. And I expect to see more of this in the future for people who like to have fun and don't enjoy eating sandpaper. The other Vayu Turbo deck list in top 8 of Sunday is going to be Raul's list. Raul was undefeated in Swiss, but then he lost his match in top 8. And his list looks pretty similar to the list we've been seeing. No Magic Cylinder, 0 out of 10. We're going to switch off of Raul's list right quick to the Lightsworn Goat, Ryanide's top 8 deck list at RBET Denver day 2. Hello? Is this the Lightsworn Goat Ryanide? This list is gas. It's this hyper aggressive list. Hella ways to play through back row and spam your bombs. Triple beckoning to spam JD, Honest, even Cyber Dragon. Triple Celestia to guarantee your threatening aura can pivot you into a massive destruction play. He's got main deck My Body as a Shield to make sure the JD and the Celestia resolve through Starlight Road, Bottomless Trap Hole, all that good shit. Even Stardust Dragon negating your cards. My Body as a Shield can counter that Stardust Dragon. There's a ton of application for this card in this hyper aggressive Lightsworn deck. If I was ever going to play this card, I would be playing it in Ryanide's beautiful looking Lightsworn list. Triple Jane as a way to run over Siroko's. He did end up adding the Card Trooper back into the deck. Seems like a slight change from his previous build where he was not playing it, but elected to go for it. Double Arcus just says fuck D Prison, fuck Raiko, fuck Caius. This card plus Honest plus like a Beckoning Light is usually just game in a lot of matchups, which is kind of funny. So yeah, he's just electing to go for the most aggressive build possible, and it worked out really well for him. Got him all the way to top 8 at RBT. As for the side, a bunch of floodgates for like the annoying matchups. Trapstun, like I said, story of the format. Trapstun also works very well against this deck, stopping Threatening Roar and stopping Beckoning Light at the point of interaction, or at the point of activation, which is super important because these are chainables, and being able to interact with chainables with stuff like Trapstun is pretty fucking important. So, weirdly enough, Trapstun is good against specifically Ryanite's build, I'd say. He's got a bunch of other interesting cards. He does say that he fucking hates Consecrated Light. I'm a fan, but if you're not playing Decree, it does make it significantly worse. So I understand why he's not a big fan of it. He just likes to play the aggro game plan and rush people down. Consecrated Light doesn't really apply pressure the same way something like Jane does or something like Arcus does. So I could see him maybe wanting to move off of that in his specific build here as well. Double book. This combos well with Aaron. Gets in under Trapstun, stuff like that. Nah, this list is perfect. It's fucking clean as shit. Side deck Rhoda is so weird. I wonder if he just couldn't think of a 15 sideboard card. Maybe there's some matchups where you really want Jane and Aaron, and you just bring it in over an Arcus. I could see that. Like, it's a deck dev matchup, and you want to have Rhoda over, like, it's just a modular. You keep your Lightsworn names high, but it's resilient to deck dev, I guess, and it can help you find, like, modal stuff. You can also search Necrogarna. I don't know if you'd ever want to do that, but maybe to pitch to Lumina or to pitch to Beckoning. So it does have some applications there as well. Maybe if there was like a side deck DD Warrior Lady, I might understand a little bit more, or DD Sailing or something like that. But yeah, that's the one thing that kind of sticks out to me. But yeah, I like this list a lot. I think I would definitely play this list. I have no notes. Looks great. Ryan Knight's tested the shit out of it. I trust his judgment. Let's get into top four. Top four, we've got at third and fourth place, we've got Weston playing Blackwings with 7 Tools of the Bandit to counter Trapstun. He adapted the meta from the day before. He's already one step ahead of everyone else. He brought his 7 tools. Fun tech card for the main. That's the only like real fun tech card. Couple of draw traps. Side deck's got those double fissures. And congratulations, Weston. Weston was playing pretty hot from what I saw. I think I watched one of his matches. He was playing pretty well. And yeah, 7 Tools of the Bandit. Pull up with your techs. Good shit, Weston. Congrats on third place, fourth place, third and fourth place. Speaking of third and fourth place, we also got another very similar Lightsworn deck to Ryanide's with a double card trooper. This must have been an error on the import on my end. I must have imported this wrong. But yeah, there's another card here. I'm assuming it's just identical to Ryanide's list, so I think it was My Body as a Shield. Yeah. So 2 copies of Ryanide's list. I'm pretty sure it was My Body as a Shield. I could be wrong. Jonathan, if you're watching this, just correct it in the comments below. This is crazy. It's crazy that his list put 2 copies into top 8. The triple Jane, double Arcus, triple Celestia, triple on the traps as well. One into top 8, one into top 4. Ryanite is revolutionizing the pure Lightsworn game single-handedly. That's the GOAT, dude. He's been testing. He's been putting in the work. He's been putting in the hours. He's been saying these cards are putting up numbers. These cards are not putting up numbers. This is where we should be cutting, where we should be adding. And to see innovation in a deck that is like as old as Lightsworn. This deck is almost 20 years old, and people are optimizing it even further as of today. It's so sick. It's so cool to see. Yeah, I'm just assuming the last card is My Body's a Shield because I'm assuming it's identical. He's playing a very different sideboard, however, from Ryanite. He's got 7 Floodgates. This is something similar to what Monado Boy has done in the past, or a few other Lightsworn players have done in the past, where they just say, my opponent's going to side out their Heavy Storm. I've only got Chainables. I think Ryanite was playing Mirror Force over Dust Shoot. So you've got only Chainables, right? You just side in the Floodgates. Your opponent sided out their Heavy Storm, and now they're just looking at an Imperial Iron Wall, and they're playing Vayu, and they're like, well, my deck does nothing, and they just lose. Or they see a Mask of Restrict, and they're playing Frogs, and they just lose. Or they see Oppression, they're playing Glads, they just lose. So it's kind of just like, gets you free wins here and there, and your opponent usually doesn't side with them in mind, because if you just don't see them, then they have a bunch of dead spell and trap removal up against, like, Lila popping the Dust Tornadoes, or JD blowing up the field, blowing up your Mystical Space Typhoon, or whatever. So it's a great mix-up for the Lightsworn deck. It makes it very annoying to play against, because you have to, like, leave in Space Typhoon when you normally wouldn't want to, or bring in Dust Tornadoes even when you normally wouldn't want to, or bring in stuff like Breaker when you normally wouldn't want to. Lightning Vortex also in the side. He is siding that one Consecrated, but he does have those Decrees, so it makes a little bit more sense in his list than it does in Ryanide's, because Consecrated Decree is a lot more resilient than just Consecrated Raw, because it can't be Icarus, can't be deck dev'd, that sort of thing. Congratulations to Jonathan. I've heard nothing but good things about him as a player, so making it all the way to top 4 at an RBT is really cool. Yeah, representing, I believe, Connecticut. Strong duelist. Shout out to Jonathan. Excited to see more from him in the future, potentially at RBET Rulers. Let's get into the top 2, the finalists. 10 FDs. Insane 7-head Gold Sark Hero Frog deck list. He said, I topped Santa Clara with this list. I'm going to run it back, but it needs more cards. He added more cards into the deck list. He said, Gold Sark will give me the redundancy I deserve. I'm just going to play as many one-ofs as I want to be able to search off Gold Sark. And this card did crazy well for him in the tournament. Like I said, he does like that Cyber Dragon and those deep prisons. This is a thing he personally enjoys. I know some players have adapted this. I'm not a huge fan, but if you're looking to resolve Gold Sark, deep prison's actually pretty good. I know this because I used to play triple deep prison in Disaster Dragon, and every time I had Gold Sark plus deep prison, I felt like that Gold Sark was going to resolve fully. I was going to make it 2 turns, and I was going to survive and get whatever insane powered card I want off this Gold Sark. Let's talk about some of the cards you can search off of Gold Sark in this list. So, for starters, I love it when Gold Sark can search for comeback cards. You got Lightning Vortex and Miracle Fusion, 2 of the best comeback cards in the game. You've also got Brain Control, exceptional card to search for. You've got Heavy Storm. So this deck functionally gets to play 3 copies of Heavy Storm. If you run the numbers, 3 copies of Heavy Storm in 45 is actually more likely to see Heavy Storm in a match than 1 copy of Heavy Storm in 40. So 5-head, 7-head, Galaxy Brain, you run the numbers, you let me know. But yeah, this also lets you play more copies of 1-for-1, more copies of stuff like Soul Exchange to get you back in the game. It lets you find your heroes, it lets you find your frogs, it lets you find your monarchs. Whatever you are missing, you can find the time with the Duplock, you can find the time with like Gores or with your back row, and then you can come back into the game if your opponent manages to establish a strong position, because you have so many powerful sweeper effects. You have 4 monster sweepers, 5 if you count Soul Exchange into Caius, and then you've got a back row sweeper in Heavy Storm, as well as just like, the Monarchs play really well into back row to begin with. So really cool stuff. Really, really cool list. I actually think this is another way you can take Hero Frogs in the future. A very, very powerful and consistent way to play this deck, because Gold Sark guarantees that you're going to see what you're missing. That extra layer of guarantee means that those games where you would have bricked, that would have cost you your tournament run, is no longer going to happen to you. And it's funny too, because 10FD, he was talking about it a little bit after the tournament. He said that on Saturday he didn't play the Gold Sarks. He went 0-2 drop. And then he said, fuck it, I'm adding him back in. 2nd place. Back-to-back, very impressive finishes for the Gold Sark Hero Frog deck. I think he's cooking. I think he's onto something. The sideboard's pretty straightforward. He does have the Morbius, big fan of that, the 1 water art. He doesn't have as many hand rips as the other Frog deck, so that may make him a little bit weaker into combo decks, especially being a little bit slower with the Gold Sark. But given the popularity of combo decks, and given the fact that they're kind of weak in general to stuff like Deck Dev, Vayu Turbo, Black Wings, a lot of the meta, and it looks like he has a shit ton of cards for combo decks. He has at least 7 cards here in the Double Vanities, Double Dyna, Double Crow, and the Water Art. He has at least 7 cards to bring in against the combo decks. Who knows? Maybe he's just cooking here. Maybe this is the future of Frogs. We've seen a lot of variation in these builds in these 2 tournaments alone. We've seen the dark versions, we've seen the heavy combo versions, we've seen the very aggressive versions with triple water art, hand rips, and then we've also seen the Gold Sark version. I have to say, of all the versions, my favorite's probably the dark one, but the best looking one is probably the one with the Gold Sarks. This looks terrifying. I don't want to play against this. I want my Frog players to draw 5 Frog cards and brick. I don't want them to have Gold Sark for Miracle Fusion guarantees. I don't want to see that. That freaks me out. Anyway, very, very impressive stuff from 10FD. Former RBET champion. No, not former. You don't lose that title, but previous RBET champion. Yeah, just really good shit. Shout out to 10FD. Representing Vegas. Vegas players in the finalists both days. So Vegas on the map. Our region is strong. Don't sleep on Vegas, I'm telling you guys. And then last but definitely not least, we've got Philip with his teched out, crazy looking Blackwing deck. A lot of ways to start playing through the back row. Shout out to Philip. He was a real one. He's actually a really chill dude. I talked to him a little bit after the tournament. Very, very good vibes. I'll just say it. Sometimes you meet someone, you're like, I would get a beer with this guy. This guy's tight. He's got My Body as a Shield, Dark Illusion, and Trap Stun. All as ways to confirm his monster sticks around. Stick the anchor monster, and several variety of ways to make sure that happens. Beyond that, he's also got Starlight Road, Space Typhoon, Heavy Storm, and Solemn Judgment. So 7 ways to make sure his monster is sticking. I actually love this approach. Dark Illusion has a lot of applications. I've talked about it in videos in the past, but if this is your first time watching anything ever, Dark Illusion's really good in the mirror because it counters Sirocco Pump. It's really good against Caius, Brain Control, Dark Arm Dragon, Icarus Attack, you name it. The whole format, D-Prison, Enemy Controller, Book of Moon, fucking everything that isn't specifically Fissure, Kappa. This card targets it, or doesn't target it, but negates it. Those cards target, this card negates it. Busted card when it works. On top of that, My Body is a Shield, Trap Stun. We spoke on these a little bit, but just guaranteeing your card goes through the bottomless trap hole or through multiple back row in the case of Trap Stun, very important. Starlight Road, powerful way to get your place to stick. We saw people like Swagger playing 2 copies of Starlight, 2 copies of Trap Stun. This is a similar configuration of like 4 non-Storm Typhoon like interactive cards that interact with your opponent's interactions, like second layer interaction. 4 slots for that basically in the Blackwing list, and it's similar to Juan Morioki's list where he had 2 Trap Stun, 2 Starlight Road, but a little bit more like teched out and a little bit more keep the opponent guessing. I like this approach. I think it's good. You may run into some issues where you'd rather have the Trap Stun instead of My Body or something like that, but as a result, as a trade-off, you do get the information tilt your opponent factor, which I think can go a really long way in a long tournament like RBET. As for the sideboard, he's got Trap Holes for the Mirror. He's got Light Imprisoning Mirror, which actually was pretty crucial for him because there was a shitload of Lightsworns in these tournaments. There was 2 in the top 8 of this one, and there was Twilight in top 16 as well. There was a lot of Lightsworn. More Lightsworn than usual. That deck is picking up popularity, especially since that new Ryanhide list dropped. And then, of course, Kaiku the Ghost Destroyer. Hate out those graveyard decks. That Tech Deck Devastation Virus. You got the 1 Royal Oppression main, 1-sided, 1/7 tools. So just like all of the 1-ups. Super teched out Blackwing deck. 1 skill drain as well. Yeah, I love this. I really like this list. This is a cool list. Shout out to Philip. He played exceptionally well. Loved watching him play on camera. The finals between him and 10FD was actually one of the coolest matches that I think we've seen on camera maybe ever. Definitely go check that match out. Both players played really well. They both used some unique tools in their deck. There was a really cool moment where Phil was able to use his My Body as a Shield to counter 10FD's Regeki Break, which is something that as more and more players are playing Regeki Break and Frogs, My Body as a Shield starts to pick up in equity there. So, really, really cool stuff. Like an interaction that you don't see all the time. Sometimes you see it when like people are playing Vanities in the Frog Mirror, but it's just like a unique thing that came up. There's a couple other things like 10FD played this game where he double Gold Sarked for Heavy Storm and 1-for-1, and then it just like made Philip play super awkwardly throughout the game. It was a very interesting game, and I think we saw one of the largest Gorse tokens ever on camera as well. So definitely go check out that match and check out the VOD if you haven't. Congratulations to all the players that played in RBT Denver this weekend. It was an insane event. It was insane. It was crazy. It was so sick. The venue was amazing. PPG was amazing. If you guys want to throw tournaments like RBET or tournaments that are smaller than RBET, check out topdeck.gg. We use them. We used this website for the tournament, and it went really, really well. Amazing tournament software. pretty seamless. Obviously, there's always stuff that can be fixed, but one thing about topdeck.gg that I really love is the dev is very active. So if there's a mistake, it gets fixed literally day of. So that's about as much as you can ask for any type of tournament software, because every tournament software is going to have a little thing here or there that comes up. But the fact that it gets fixed immediately and you know you're only going to ever have to deal with that problem once. Shout out topdeck.gg for powering RBET Denver this weekend. Shout out our 2 champions, 2 bird players, but they faced some tough competition. And who knows, maybe at the RBT in Chicago, someone will dethrone the Black Wings in the finals. We shall see. I'll see you guys in the next vid. Much love, and thank you guys for all the continued support. Peace out.